Welcome to a TerranScapes work in progress video. If you have been following videos recently, you'll remember that I had posted a video of a very early shot of an Avatar or Pandoran themed display board. The customer requested this to accompany his Wood Elf army, which he's going to be painting in the theme of the indigenous people of Pandora. And so he wanted a board set that would reflect the Pandoran world. And so a few features. First, I'll describe a little bit about where we're at, and then some of the upcoming work and some of the potential hiccups that this board set produces. So first, he wanted a tree of souls on a hill, prominently in the center of the board as the sort of focal piece. So I've shown the Tree of Souls before. Basically, I've attached tendrils, painted them up, and then I've mounted it to a two-tiered board, two-tiered hill, and the hill sort of steps down on one part, and the hill is removable. So I'm going to take that out now just for a second. But just to give you a sense, I don't know if I've finished work on the hill yet, and I'll talk about work to be done at the end of this video. The second thing, which is really the most prominent part of the board, are the floating mountains. I got this idea, and I wish I could give credit, but I can't remember what website I saw. Somebody had posted a project where they had tried to make a floating mountain, I think for some 40K forces that they had. And the supporting structure is concealed within the waterfalls, which are coming off of it. And attached through vines, which are actually just sort of reinforced wire, is the second mountain here that you can see. The idea being that you could display troops as well on the floating platforms, and thereby expand the display space for the total army, which I think is going to be really needed for this board. I've added in some rocks to give some visual interest in a couple spots on the board, and whoops. Settle that up. Sorry about that. And then I've started to attach some of the foliage that I'm going to put around in different spots. And since the Pandoran world is really this very lush combination of what looks like deciduous forests as well as jungle, it's got its own sort of unique vegetation. I'm just combining everything to give this really dense vegetative feel to a couple aspects of the board. He did want, now I'm not lighting it from the back, and this is not going to be the best view, but originally his request was for it to be viewable from 360 view, so this way the board is viewable from any angle and will be hopefully very interesting to the people at tournaments or events where the army will be displayed. The waterfall falls off into this river and comes down, and I've been adding this. I don't think this camera, and I'm not going to shoot any macros, and this is just a little work in progress, but I've been adding some texture to it and really having some fun improving my overall water effect. Previous waterfalls I've done have been more of a sheeting look, and I really wanted something that was going to be more globule, and I've been looking at videos of waterfalls online, and they really comes off in waves and sort of, you know, piles, if you will, coming off of the waterfall as it flows down. So I really tried to emulate that with the water effects. Now, when I get done, this is going to be painted white because when it clarifies, you can still see some things poking through it. And when you look at waterfalls, waterfalls are completely opaque white, actually. And I think that that's something that I'm going to have to add into this to enhance its realism, and it's something I was planning on from quite a while back. So, what's the hang-up that I've suddenly discovered, which I just want to make the customer aware of, and also, you know, anybody who wants to tackle a project like this, is that when you stand out your army, you do need some space for the models. And the customer, I sort of gave him a little preview of the hill, and I wanted a hill to be prominent. If you want the Tree of Souls to really stand out, it should set up above the floor of the board set itself, and I thought that was an excellent idea. Now, once I've made the hill and I've put it down, it does, I'll come back down to eye level, it does set the tree up, and it's kind of nicely flanked from the front view by the two mountains. I really like the overall, what's the word I'm looking for? The overall composition, that's the word, of the boards this way. And I'm going to put in some little vegetation here coming off by this rock, assuming that you can't put movement trays on the rocks. It's a good place to tuck in some vegetation around it. Same in the corner here, and then it'll give a little bit, you know, some shorter in the back, taller in the, shorter in the front, taller in the back, and it will give sort of an enhanced perspective moving back as you come up, so coming up to the mountains like that. So what's the one concern I have at this point is that I'm almost concerned there's not enough space on the board to actually display large movement trays. As you know, in Warhammer Fantasy, things are moving towards bigger and bigger blocks of troops right now with the new rule set that was released, oh, I don't know, what was that, 6 months ago or something. And so setting movement trays on this might be a little bit crowded. Now, there's going to be quite a bit of space up on this mountain, and while it does rock a little bit, you know, it is supported by those 2 points, it is going to be, once you set them on there, this is a pretty stable platform, actually. And you'll be able to put some on here, and you'll be able, you know, some characters or a small ranked up unit, maybe of archers, something like that. But then, as a possible solution, I decided that perhaps the way to view this is not to view it as displaying it for Warhammer Fantasy, but to view it as displaying it for a Pandoran theme, which is that the indigenous people, I can't remember their name at the moment, I know it's ridiculous, but they really fought guerrilla style. There weren't ranked up troops. So one way to work around this, which is I think my suggestion at this point, and is really going to work best with this kind of a board, is to actually arrange the troops in the skirmish style, maybe a few ranked up units just to make it easy to set it up, but a few skirmish troops climbing around, archers, foot soldiers streaming out, that sort of idea, to give that sense of it's a guerrilla warfare in a jungle environment. And I think in that sense, then this is going to really, really work very, very well. And in fact, you know, it's going to create so many nooks and crannies and corners and places to put troops that it's going to really be, I think, an interesting visual montage for you know, co-gamers or judges to come in and actually want to look around and sort of sneak around the back of all of the terrain and look for all those troops and get a good close-up look of them, as well as the actual structure of the display board itself. So what's the work that really needs to be done at this point? Well, right now I want to add in some more vegetation in the back to give a little bit of a frame to the troops that are on the front. That's the idea that I've really set up here. I finished this one pretty much. It's got a little more work to go, but just to give you that sense of a couple small patches in the front, a little shelf here, stick some vegetation in there, and then you can put some troops on here, and it'll give a nice little visual frame to them so that you can come in, focus on them, and have them be backed and have a little bit, without obscuring them, of vegetation in front to help balance the look. So that's going to happen on this one as well. The vines still need some more work. I've been experimenting with some mosses hanging down. If you look at the Pandoran Mountains, they have a tremendous amount of vegetation hanging off of the vines. So I'm going to be adding some clump foliage to these to obscure a lot of the vine, adding some mosses hanging down, and I'd like to add some mosses hanging down off of the mountains as well, but not too much, as again, if you're going to be putting people underneath, I can't really fill this to the bottom, and I've already noticed that these vines, you know, are coming down quite a bit as it is, so, you know, there's definitely, that might be an interesting frame and backdrop for the Tree of Souls when you view it from up above, with a nice green poking through it. But in any case, I can't hang terribly far the way it's depicted in the movie, so, you know, in any kind of display, we're always compromising flexibility and playability and appearance whenever we create things for wargaming. So those are sort of my thoughts on where it's at right now. I'm about 20 hours into the project, actually, so I'm hoping to wrap this up pretty soon. The water effects need a little bit more work. I'm going to be flanking this area with some vegetation, like it's coming out of a wet, densely vegetated hole in the side of the mountain. I'll be painting the water to give it that really crystalline white look. That's my hope here. And then doing some additional water effects to show spraying around the base of the waterfalls and enhance and do a little bit of painting to enhance the bubbling and the froth that's coming away from the waterfalls as the river streams out into its wider end here. And I really feel pretty good. Let's see if I can get it. Oh, there we go. I really got some nice movement in the water, and as you, if you could see it in person, the movement is much higher, much more rough in the upper areas, and then as it comes away from the waterfalls, it slowly starts to smooth out and go a little bit more placid as it moves away from the turbulent areas. So I think overall that really came out very well, and I'm pretty excited about some of the new experiments that I've been running with some water techniques. Well, I hope you've enjoyed the look at this. I will, of course, be posting a video of it when it's complete, as well as some nice photos of it for the store, for the website. When you see these videos, of course, remember that there's always going to be pictures of the final products up there that are much higher quality and can show you some of the details really up close. And I always encourage you to visit. Those are, of course, located at TerranScapes.com. So that's TerranScapes.com, where you can see some of the other custom projects that I've done as well in the past, and get a sense of maybe some projects that are going to be coming up in the future. Hope you enjoyed the video, and keep your eyes out for the finished product, hopefully maybe a week or two.